Well, China is, of course, the flavor of the season. It's the flavor of the year as well, from the coronavirus to the border tensions. Well, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi has ensured that China is very much the flavor of politics as well. He's been launching a scathing series of video attacks on Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he's now blamed the disunity in India for Chinese provocations. In a video message posted on Twitter, the third in a series that he's been doing, Rahul has blamed internal political bickering for the Chinese transgressions at the line of control. He claims that Indians are fighting amongst themselves and there are internal disturbances which are hurting the country. The former Congress president said that the Prime Minister has no vision to deal with China and that it was the Prime Minister's job to prepare a roadmap in this regard. Rahul says the Prime Minister's focus on building in his own image and that Indian state institutions are all busy doing that task.
We are fighting amongst each other. Just look at the politics. All day long, Indian is fighting Indian. And it is because there is no clear-cut vision going forward. And I know that the Prime Minister is an opponent. My responsibility is to question him. My responsibility is to ask questions and put pressure on him so he does his work. His responsibility is to give the vision. It's not there. I can tell you, guaranteed it's not there. And that's why China's in there today.
इसके पहले जो प्रधानमंत्री बने, वाजपेयी साहब भी बने, नेहरू साहब से प्रधानमंत्री थे, इंदिरा जी भी प्रधानमंत्री थे, लेकिन खुद सारा मैं करती हूँ, मैं करता हूँ, ऐसे कभी नहीं किया। ये सारा अपना जो यहाँ की जो व्यवस्था है, डेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम है, वो सिस्टम सारी बदल देने का उनका इरादा दिखाई देता है। यहाँ अलग अलग जो संस्थाएं हैं, वो संस्थाएं सब खत्म करने की और खाली एक सेंट्रल लॉ लाने का, सेंट्रलाइज पावर लाने की, इसके लिए सारी उनकी कोशिश चाहिए।
उनके पास ट्वीट करने के सिवा, वो हो या प्रियंका हो या इस तरह के वीडियो जारी करने के सिवा उनके पास कुछ है नहीं। लेकिन देश की जनता इस बात को महसूस कर रही कि जहां राहुल और प्रियंका केवल ट्वीट करके आरोप लगा रहे हैं, चाहे इंडो चाइना के सवाल पे हो, तो उन्हें इस बात की चिंता नहीं करनी चाहिए। देश की जनता महसूस करती है कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी के हाथों में भारत सुरक्षित है, भारत की सीमाएं सुरक्षित है और हमारे ये 62 का भारत नहीं है जब कांग्रेस में 43,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर कब्जा चाइना ने कर लिया।
Okay, Rahul, we've got the Congress party's Aishwarya Mahadev, we've got Sudesh Verma from the BJP. Aishwarya, coming to you first, because Rahul talks about this political bickering that's taking place in this country, which appears to be a little bit of a contradiction. I want to lay it very clear that the opposition is supposed to ask questions, but the tone and the tenor of the conversation, including in Rahul Gandhi's videos, appear to suggest that he's very much responsible for this tone and tonality at a time when everyone needs to be united on national security.
Let's make something very clear. Right? When we talk about this bickering, there's one very simple fact. From the time of the all-party meeting, or even forget the all-party meeting, when news of basically incursions and also intrusions around the border began, the opposition party said we will support whatever you want to do. What did the BJP systematically do after that until they were forced to have an all-party meeting? They were dismissive. They basically were in denial, and they were delusional. They tried to basically try and mask the reality that was happening, and it led to a lot of unnecessary bickering. From who went to China to who spoke about war, the fact was they were diverting a lot from the topic and also denying the truth. For example, let me tell you, a few weeks ago, a lot of journalists said there are no troops even for disengagement. China has no troops. Recently, you see that 20 to 40,000 troops stationed in and around Eastern Ladakh. So what we're saying is this political bickering is, in essence, when you refuse to engage with us constructively when they're asking you.
But Aishwarya, Rahul appears to be completely alone. The rest of the opposition, is in solidarity with the government in keeping with this as a national security issue. Rahul is isolated and alone in this whole thing, and then he's lecturing people on bickering.
Sometimes when you stand in the path of the truth and what you're asking.
Oh, come on.
A lot of other people. Okay, sure, let me tell you something. A lot of people have been talking about how territory has been taken, 8 kilometers of incursion.
One second. A lot of people? I hope you saw our coverage just now, because I am sitting here on India Today having just broken a story about Chinese taking parts of our territory in Pangong. So please don't tell us about that. We are independent here. And I'm still telling you that Rahul is bickering.
I'm not talking about your channel. I'm saying from the beginning of the Chinese issue, we said we will support you, but we're seeing disturbing news reports of 8 kilometers of incursion. We're seeing that we saw our troops being martyred and we did not have enough investigation on it. We're seeing that disengagement. We have spoken about this categorically.
No, but how does he know there is no investigation into the death of troops? This is what I mean. Is Rahul Gandhi... Aishwarya, great deal of respect for you. I am simply saying, what does Rahul Gandhi expect? Is he expecting the Prime Minister to hold a press conference on a tricky issue with China on every single day? I'm genuinely wondering, is that what Rahul Gandhi is expecting?
I think to expect a press conference of the Prime Minister is something that we've all given up on. But what Mr. Rahul Gandhi is expecting is what he has said is a vision. Right? You came to power in 2014, and this is not about our loss or our inability to capture or provide a vision. But in 2014, you came in 2019, you got the mandate again. But what was the vision going forward? Shiv, it's a systematic policy failure over the years, because tell me now, if those 9 level of talks with the Chinese premier over the years would have paid off, would we have had martyred soldiers? Would we have had...
No, that is silly. I mean, come on, I don't think anybody can say that a government would have spoken to someone if they had known that something like this was going to happen. There have been lapses at many levels, which I understand. I am speaking specifically about this. This whole thing about vision is a little silly. But before that, I want to go across to Sudesh. And let's remember that Rahul Gandhi speaks about bickering at a time when solidarity is required. We here on India Today are reporting the facts. So if you want to know about how much territory has been taken, please watch India Today. Rahul Gandhi has not attended any of those meetings of the Standing Committee on Defence, which is a separate issue altogether, and they were talking about seriousness and vision, and that's one forum where he can actually learn a little bit more about what's going on. Sudesh Verma, if Rahul Gandhi does not matter to you, the entire opposition, is silent on the China issue, it's only Rahul Gandhi. A, why are you engaging with him? And B, why are you getting personal and saying mental illness and things like that? He is, after all, an opposition leader. He's very well within his rights to ask questions.
Shiv, I carefully read all about what he has said. And let me tell you, did you find anything in that which is extraordinary? He is talking about a vision to deal with China. What vision? As a position leader, if you actually has a vision, has a methodology by which you can deal. He's saying you can negotiate with China, you can talk to China only with his strength. And this government has given his strength to the entire nation. By purchasing Rafale, by expediting defense deal, by doing Atmanirbhar on defense equipment, buying defense equipment and production of defense equipment. We had in 2012 only 10 days of ammunition for our cannons, for our rifles. Have you forgotten that? Was that the vision to deal with China? No. So what Mr. Rahul Gandhi is saying actually is bewildering, not able to understand. You can talk in theoretical terms, you can talk in jumbo bumbo, nothing happens, you say whatever you want. It is social science, you say whatever you want. But do you have a solution which is different than what Mr. Modi is doing?
I want to
have a better solution.
It has become a situation.
Criticizing is very easy.
Aishwarya, I'll tell you what has happened.
I can say to you are a bad anchor. You don't know anchoring.
I'll tell you what has happened. I'll tell you what the perception is. I'll tell you what the independent perception is. No, Rahul Gandhi is getting a lot of traction on Twitter, but let me give you an independent. I hope both of you think I'm an unbiased journalist. Let me give you a very uncensored and independent view of what people think of what Rahul Gandhi is doing, as far as I can see. It is that Rahul Gandhi is using this as an issue to somehow stay in the limelight and attack the government, because there are so many other things to attack the government on. This is the one thing where the country actually needs a little bit of solidarity. There are so many other things to attack the government on. We are up against a unpredictable adversary, Aishwarya. You've seen what we've just reported. They've stopped pulling back. They're still, stuck over there. There are real problems dealing with China. The last thing we really need right now is political disunity. It seems that Rahul Gandhi is being selfish here.
The Congress party categorically has stated that nothing supersedes the territorial integrity and the supremacy of the Indian nation. We have said this time and time again, and this is not a party that has existed from yesterday. What Mr. Rahul Gandhi is saying, that we are in the situation we're in, because of certain policies that have taken place over the years. At the end of the day, when you see territory being ceded as never seen before, at the end of the day, when you see Prime Minister making statements which you see are fallacious later on, you may think it is him coming out to say relevant, which I don't believe is true. I believe he is coming out to speak the truth. Because Shiv, I will commend you have been one of by far the most neutral anchors I've seen on especially defense reporting, and not obviously catering to test something jingoism as we've seen everywhere else. But you also need to realize that the government for the longest time did not tell us a lot of what was happening. Even though we tried to independently ask them these questions, the government refused to talk about it. And when you have a government which is hiding its flaws at the border and tries to set a mainstream narrative which is basically being peddled by a lot of these news channels that propagate yellow journalism.
No, we don't care about those news channels.
Can I respond?
You are not one of them.
No, but
Shiv,
has there? I want to ask another thing. I take your point, Aishwarya. I want to ask another thing. This is about the tone and tenor of the conversation. Rahul Gandhi said that all this bickering happens, and I actually agree with him. He's part of that bickering, but I agree with him that there is only bickering. There is no normal conversation between the executive and the opposition. Sudesh Verma. At the end of the day, the BJP and Rahul Gandhi can't sit across a table and exchange information. Not that the BJP wants information from Rahul Gandhi, but you're unable to brief the opposition. It looks like, as far as China is concerned, because of the atmosphere.
Shiv, I'll respond to that. First of all, I completely disagree with what impression Aishwarya is trying to give, borrowing from Rahul Gandhi ji, that territory has been ceded. As the government has said, not an inch of territory would be ceded. This is not happening in Indian part of LAC. You must remember that. If you know about a strategy, you know what it means. So don't spread rumors about what is happening at the borders. And we are sure that the Chinese will have to withdraw. It may take time. The government has made its position very clear. Now coming to the all-party meeting in which Mr. Rahul Gandhi should have asked questions, should have asked for clarification, how much of defense thing he understands. He never attended any of the meetings. So from where is getting the guidance about defense, we don't understand that. When the time comes, you don't ask. Come outside and start asking questions. When the time comes, the government will tell you it's a running crisis and the government cannot go on reporting to you.
Okay.
The people of this country trust the Prime Minister.
No,
Nothing is going to happen. Mr. Rahul Gandhi can spread canard. Nothing is going to happen.
My sense is after the all-party meeting took place, there should have been one voice from India. Whether it is the opposition or the executive, there should have been one voice. But you can have the last word since you are in the opposition, Aishwarya. Is Rahul Gandhi, there is also a perception that it was Rafale last year and it is the China issue this year for Rahul Gandhi, and he doesn't care what the consequences are.
Very simply, just the statement made by the BJP spokesperson now, where he said not an inch of territory seems to have been ceded. Then what is the entire point of the disengagement talks that seem to be happening? Why is that the LAC?
Strategic affairs people, they will brief you. They will mentor you on
Okay.
You need some lessons on defense strategy.
Let her finish, Sudesh. Out of time, last word. Yeah, Aishwarya, finish your point.
What we're saying is, at the end of it, whatever issue we're taking up, the onus is on the government to come out and build confidence with every single person, whether opposition or not. The government has not done it. They're peddling the sort of lies that the BJP spokesperson.
But only Rahul Gandhi appears to be wanting this confidence. Every other opposition party appears to be fine with what the government is doing insofar as handling the situation is concerned, Aishwarya. That is my point. Rahul Gandhi appears to be increasingly isolated. You don't hear a Sharad Pawar talking about it. You don't hear an Uddhav Thackeray talking about it. You don't hear a KCR or a Mamta talking about it. You don't hear people who are viscerally dislike Narendra Modi talking about it. It's only Rahul Gandhi.
This is not about us viscerally disliking anybody. This is about us loving our nation more.
No.
If the other countries do not want to talk about it, Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party are going to talk about this issue, because you cannot deny that the enemy is...
There's a pattern here. Okay. I take your point.
Out.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Thank you, Sudesh. We're out of time, but this is obviously not going to be the last video from Rahul Gandhi on China. Hopefully, he will talk about some of the other issues which are very valid. COVID-19, the economic crisis, all issues that Rahul has touched upon. I feel that's where he can attack the government even more as far as China is concerned. One voice from the political system, please, when we're up against the...
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.